Hi, welcome back to the latest episode of Coffee at Kunzum. And we've been talking to Chetan Mahajan, who wrongly went to jail, came back and wrote this book, The Bad Boys of Bokaro Jail.
That's right.
Right? So, are the boys really bad in there?
Actually, that's pretty controversial.
Okay.
One of the books titles that I had suggested to Penguin was "Nice Guys I Met in Jail."
Okay.
But they said that उसमें वो मसाला नहीं है, so
Okay.
that's why they picked the title.
Okay.
There is a fair share of bad boys,
Okay.
but then there are also quite a few fairly decent folks. So one thing
Okay.
I'll put right now as a qualifier is that the jail I went to was not a jail of convicts.
Okay.
It was a jail of people who were under trials, people
Okay.
like me who were accused of having done something wrong.
Oh, there are two, you have separate jails for that?
Yeah, so there is a central jail which are like Hazaribagh, which is supposed to have 3,000 people.
Okay.
These are all convicts.
Okay.
The one that we were at is called the district jail.
Okay.
And you have two of them in just the Bokaro.
Okay.
But these are smaller, 200-300 people at times. So
Okay.
now I know about these things.
Okay.
Not a long time ago I did not.
So, how physically discomforting is jail? I know it's not an easy question. I'm sure it's not a bed of roses at all.
Yeah. So it's a tough place. I mean, you
Okay.
basically are thinking, lower middle class standards of comfort or
Okay.
well below that.
Okay.
I think when I went to jail, my biggest intimidation to start with was just the fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Because, for someone like me, I'd never even thought that I'd go to jail. So
Okay.
when they arrested me, my cell phone was gone, connectivity, laptop, everything
Sure.
is gone. And then and this was after dark. It
Yeah.
was winter time. I was walked into this big looming gate.
Wow.
And I don't know what to expect. मार पिटाई होएगी, क्या करेंगे, sexual abuse होएगा, will I get to see the sun, will there be bed bugs, centipedes, none of those things. I don't know what to expect. So it's
Okay.
just this big, scary, dark, unknown place. And so when I went in, at least there was no physical abuse of any sort. There was a lot of corruption, there was a lot of money making that was happening off of you. But there was, and you slept on the floor. I mean, basically, you had a thin mattress on which you slept. You had a blanket, so I wasn't cold.
Okay.
But it wasn't the most comfortable, obviously.
Certainly.
Food was crap. And I think what happened after I had kind of, first was denial, the phase that I talked about in the first segment. Then there is this whole fear thing.
Yeah.
But after a while, you figure out, okay, how am I going to survive in this place?
Okay.
You have to. So you talk to the right people, you try and fix things up. My dad turned up, so he moved me to this other ward where you actually had a bed, so I wasn't sleeping on the floor.
Oh, okay.
The first night I slept on the floor.
Okay.
But the biggest problems, strangely, of course, is boredom. Because once you know that theek hai, you're safe,
Yeah.
and there's not much to worry about. And knowing me and knowing that people were working hard to get me out, I knew that it was a matter of 8-10 days is what I thought initially.
Sure.
Ho jayega. Then when this whole thing just kept getting stretched on and on, it was just boredom and frustration that what do you do? There's
Okay.
nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I'm a runner. So I started running inside the jail, which had me really prominently in the view of everybody. That was wrong with this guy.
Yeah.
There's not much space.
Yeah.
Jail is a 1-minute loop.
Yeah.
And I was running that for like 120 times.
I've seen you run a full 42-kilometer marathon in Ladakh.
That's
and
true.
for you, a 1-minute lap.
It is a little crazy. So that was one thing that I did. Reading was the other, because that's one thing you can do inside jail.
Okay.
So I told my family, my dad and my brother were there.
Okay.
I told them to get me some books which I had at home, and they got those books, and I was doing a lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing, which was what you did to kill time, which was a new thing for me, was writing.
Okay.
And that's where this came out.
Okay.
Because I started writing about the whole experience.
Okay.
And I tried to make the writing less about me,
Yeah.
and more about me being a lens to showcase and to kind of tell the story of Bokaro jail.
Okay.
So who are the people? How do things work? What are the kind of crimes they've committed? What is just normal life inside a jail? All
Okay.
of that.
Okay.
And that's what the book became about. So it was less of a diary of Chetan Mahajan, but more of a diary of the jail through the eyes of Chetan Mahajan. And that became kind of the...
So generally, what was the attitude and behavior of the authorities, the jail authorities?
See, within 24 hours of my being arrested, my father turned up.
Okay.
He's an ex-army officer.
Okay.
He went and told everybody, look, he's my son. It's all this one silly mistake. He's just joined this company 2 months ago. So I think because of that, and because of the fact that I, was obviously a more educated person, I could speak English and all of that stuff, their attitude towards me was always a little deferential.
Sure.
So, but if they, so the jail system requires you to pay for certain things and you have to make money off of you. So I wasn't given any discounts or any concessions.
Okay.
They just asked me for money more respectfully.
Okay.
That's all.
And money for things like?
Money for things like everything. Yeah, you want to have a decent cup of tea.
Yeah.
There is a deal. You want
Okay.
better food than what is served inside the jail. There is a deal. If you want to speak on the cell phone, there is a deal.
Okay.
If you want ganja, there is a deal.
Okay.
So you tell me what you want.
And was the family allowed to give you food inside?
Yeah, my dad and brother were able to bring some food in there.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother-in-law was also there. So food and things like that, they're allowed.
Okay.
Even money can come in, but there is a certain cut that the cops keep.
Okay. Okay.
Money is required inside the jail, by the way.
Okay.
It's not
globally, right?
Uh,
I would think so. If I see, from what I see of Hollywood and what I see of even books and all, I guess you need money everywhere.
There
right?
is an economy, and you need some currency of some sort.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in Bokaro jail, it was cash.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's cash everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. And what was the attitude of fellow inmates?
So it was quite strange because I had become. So they knew that I was in for this ghotala.
Okay.
The newspaper reported कि 2 crore का घोटाला है, which is
अच्छा.
actually completely untrue, but that's what the paper said, so it
Okay.
became the gospel truth. And in addition to all of that, they knew that I was from the education industry.
Okay.
So I was the translator and the education guru.
Okay.
मेरे को English आती थी. Now all court documents are in English.
Okay.
So I used to read people out their postmortem reports. I used to read out their case histories and tell
Wow.
them कि इसमें ये लिखा है, because उनको
Okay.
8वीं pass type
Yeah.
people were in there. So that was part 1. And part 2 was education guru. So even
Okay.
the cops would come to me and say मेरा बेटा 12वीं में है, उसको कौन से engineering college में भेजें, उसको क्या करना चाहिए,
Okay.
उसके लिए कैसी तैयारी कराएं.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
quite bizarre. Because one minute the guy is searching you physically, like full
Sure.
search,
Sure.
and then the next minute he's saying, "Where do you think my son should go for engineering?" So it's
Okay.
a little confused, but that's how it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were in jail, could you relate your experience to any movie that you've seen or any book that you've read, or it's very different? It's a different world.
No, I think it's very different because in the movies they really dramatize it quite a bit and they make it
Okay.
very interesting. And there are a couple of movies which are made about only being in jail.
Sure.
Shawshank Redemption, or the
I
jail.
was coming to this movie only. So you've seen that movie?
I haven't, strangely enough.
Okay.
In fact, I had not even heard of the Prison Diaries, which
Okay.
is a book written by Jeffrey Archer about his time in jail.
Okay.
It's non-fiction. He
Yeah,
spent
yeah.
4 years in a UK jail. But I did not have any of that context. And mostly what they show in Sholay Wole में जो दिखाया था बहुत फिल्मी होता है.
Yeah.
So it didn't really kind of
So have
I
you-
didn't feel any deja vu at all.
So have you already sold the rights to Bollywood for this?
No, nobody's asked me yet.
You should.
I hope so. Let's see.
Yeah, because I'm sure this can make for a good story.
Yeah.
So I think we'll come back and we'll talk about some of your interactions with some of your fellow inmates.
Sure.
About some of their stories, about what kind of bad boys or good boys they were. Yeah. So we'll come back again. Until then, let's have a coffee.
All right. Thanks. Sure.